All right. What is going on, everybody on YouTube? Griffin here, coming back to you guys with another video. First and foremost, if you're new to the channel and tuning in for the first time here, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button below. Hit the bell icon right beside it. That way you'll be notified every time we go live or upload another video. And a couple of you have been asking, because I know I have mentioned it recently. We are in the process of converting also our audio from the live streams, videos, shorts, all that good stuff into podcast. I've been researching that over the weekend. I've had the house pretty much to myself this weekend, as my daughter and wife were out of town this past week. So definitely got to dive in and do a little bit of work and research into all that. So we will be coming out with a podcast here shortly for you all as well, and I will definitely announce that across all of our social media groups, platforms, all that stuff once that happens. Which leads me to the next point. If you aren't in our group chat in Discord, link for that should be in the description below, I believe. There's over 200, almost over 230 members of us in there now. And if you're in the pest control business specifically, like I know a lot of you all are, of course, we have our totally free Facebook chat as well. We just started that here within the last month. We're already up to like something like 20 members or so in there. Relatively small niche group, of course. But we just started that about a month ago, just again trying to branch out, have all these different networks that, you know, fit everybody's needs and all that stuff ultimately. And of course, we don't charge for any of that. You notice I keep using the word free. We don't charge for like anything, you know, really associated with this channel. If I'm ever, you know, associated with a product or anything, you know, referrals or anything, I'll let you all know. But we don't charge for anything, of course, really associated with the channel or anything. I just do this, you know, for you all, just because I know how it is. You know, I started my business in 2020, and, you know, it's very difficult to search through, you know, all the BS on the internet and find what you're looking for, especially for those of you in the pest control industry specifically. How's it going there, Art of Nature? So I just, you know, figured I'd give everybody an outlet for that. And then, of course, we also discuss investing. We used to do a lot of trading on this channel. I don't necessarily really, quote-unquote, trade stocks anymore. I do from time to time hop in like a, you know, short to medium term futures play, stock play, stuff like that. So we haven't abandoned that altogether, but I don't necessarily day trade just because all my money, of course, is primarily tied up into this business. But with that, I just want to make sure our stream is doing all right. It seems like we're doing good. We have a few of you in here, or we did in here. So we'll just go ahead and get started as people start filing in. Of course, these live streams every weekend, we do them specifically for you all. They're a Q&A format. We have the chat pulled up here, so if you all have any questions specifically, you can ask them there in the chat, and I'll get to them, you know, in a timely manner and all that. Sometimes we get a lot of questions kind of one right after the other, and it takes me a few minutes to get through each one, of course. But if you have any questions throughout the stream, that's what these streams are primarily for, is to answer your questions. Doesn't have to be about the topic necessarily. Like, of course, right now we're talking about Google Ads primarily for this video today. But if you have any questions whatsoever, you know, regarding the pest control business, how to grow your business, or just even just basic questions at all and regarding business, you can shout it out there in the chat, and I'll definitely answer to the best of my ability. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you outright that I don't know the answer. I don't want to give you all bad information or anything like that whatsoever. And here we go. How can I get clients without a website? As you can't afford one. So if you can't afford one, there are really, really cheap options. Google even, whenever you go to create like a Google business profile, they do have a free like website. The only thing with it is say your company name, for example, was Preferred Pest Management, like our company. It would say Preferred Pest Management .Google Business Suite or something like that, instead of .com, .org, .net, whatever you're normally going to use. It would say that essentially, and it's a pretty plain Jane. You know, of course, it's free, so it's going to be pretty plain Jane stuff, but it is a free version if nothing else. There are ways to get around the price point. there are cheaper options. My very first website that we built was with a platform called Weebly. I believe, I'm trying to think of the cost. It was somewhere around like $100 US, $120 US, and then you just had to pay for the domain for a year, which was like, I want to say 10 to 20 bucks. So all in all, right around like $150 or something like that, US dollars. So there are ways to get around, those more expensive ones that can at least, get you, more solid in terms of with Google, which I suggest doing the Google one regardless, optimizing it the best you can, because Google, likes whenever we use their products and stuff like that, even if they suck, go ahead and use that, just because, you can fill it with keywords and all that stuff. That'll help your Google business ranking in the map pack and all that kind of stuff. And then, like I said, the main thing would be searching those cheaper options and making sure that they're legit, obviously, because there are plenty cheap ones out there that suck, obviously. And even with the cheaper ones, you're still going to kind of get what you pay for early on from the SEO side of things. It's going to be very hands-on. You're going to have to do everything yourself. There's going to be a lot of features they don't have, such as, schema, markup, and all that good stuff. But you can at least get it to where, you are more of a legit business in the eyes of Google. And, that'll help, at least get you a couple more calls, not to mention you'll be getting some website views, which you wouldn't have been getting before. So I hope that helps, because otherwise there's really no way to get around it outside of just straight up going door to door, door knocking, going to businesses, shaking hands with the owners of small businesses, and, just kind of doing it really the old school way from like 20, 30, 40 years ago, where you just had to literally go shake hands, which sometimes, I still do that. I do some networking events, in my area where, it's all about just shaking hands, giving short presentations, kind of like elevator pitches, essentially. And, that's still a skill that is very valuable. There's nothing more valuable than, getting in front of a human being, shaking their hand, getting on that figuring out who you vibe with that also has a similar goal as you, just a different industry, and how you all can help each other, in terms of referrals and stuff like that. So I don't want to say like there's no way, but it's just going to be a lot more of a grind, a lot more time, all that stuff. Get clients off your Instagram page. I thought I had my Instagram pulled up here for a second on my Windows or something, because I was just on there. From Instagram specifically, that's a good question, because I do get like social media. So how my website, analytics and stuff work, even within Google Analytics, it just tells me specifically that it came from social media. I'm trying to get it integrated a little bit better, where it'll tell me specifically. The only way I've found to do this so far is with CallRail, of course, and every phone number you add to CallRail, obviously your bill's going to go up month over month. So I'm trying to keep that price as low as possible, because we're already paying them $110, $120 a month. But as of right now, from the website forms that people fill outside of things, it just tells me that, it was a social media, outlet. Essentially, it doesn't tell me if it's Facebook, Instagram, etc. So I may, but I would guess if so, the number is very, very low, which that does kind of lead me to that next point. We're talking about some different ways you can get clients without a website. Social media, is definitely going to be one of those, plastering your phone number, everywhere, and all that good stuff. And then, of course, like I said, I think the main way is going to be just trying to get in front of as many people as you can, face to face. Show them that, you are the business. You're not, some fraud. You're not fake. And, if worse comes to worse, you even just bluntly tell them, look, I don't have the money to have a website right now. So if you go to look us up, we're not going to have a website. But, we're getting there. That's the next step. Usually people aren't going to give you a hard time or anything. Like I said, it's more so Google than anything that wants you to have a website to be more, legit, essentially. So I hope that helps a little bit. But with that, we'll go ahead and, go over, another update, essentially like a little weekly update of how our Google ad has been performing. So of course, they're telling us that there's stuff that we could do to make the ad better, which that's always the case. First of all, the ad can always be improved. Google really kind of overdoes it when it comes to that. The main thing you're going to want to focus on is your click to CTR ratio. If you're getting a lot of clicks, or how would that be? I'm trying to think of how to word it. If your CTR is lower than the amount of clicks you're getting, I think I'm wording that right. Once we see the graph, I'll know for sure. But if your CTR is lower than the amount of clicks you're getting, your ad's not generally performing well from what I've noticed. And as you can see here, our cost per click has gone up. We're paying around $26 per click right now. We've had 11 clicks within the last days, 264 impressions. So our ad, if we pull up a calculator here, just to kind of calculate the CTR ourselves, first and foremost, from the last 7 days. Oops, did not mean to do that. What is going on right now? I swear these laptops sometimes. Okay, there we go. How's it going, Corey? Let's see. I'll answer your question in just a second. Just want to calculate the CTR for you all real quick. Let's see, 264. So around a 4.25% CTR within the last week. That's not bad. That's about the average, for a Google Ads. So, for doing this on our own, again, just taking it week by week, making adjustments as we need to. After, this is the second full week, essentially running this ad, I won't complain about a 4.25% CTR. I'm not really going to complain about the costs that we've paid either. We'll talk about, some of the calls and leads and stuff we got this week here in a minute. Just want to answer Corey's question. Oh, and he asked another one. Place your phone number on your vehicle. Yeah, we talked about that last week as well. Yeah, no, you definitely want to label your vehicle. It's a no-brainer. You're pretty much driving around a free billboard. Definitely get your phone number, your company name on your vehicle as soon as possible. In all honesty, I would do that even before getting a website in terms of importance. It's just, it's free advertising. All it takes is one customer. It pays for itself. Same thing with the website, of course. You get one customer, pays for the website for the year. But definitely, in terms of the cost, this is usually going to be more cheaper than, of course, your website. That's just my opinion. And what I've noticed too, we've gotten multiple calls from people seeing our truck. Thinking about making my first Google ad. What should I budget? And what kind of return on investment? So usually, in all honesty, that first week or two is usually not great, depending on how much money you're willing to put up. Obviously, the more money you're going to put up, the quicker you and Google are going to learn, together about your ad, what the goal of the ad is, who your target audience is, all of that good stuff. From my experience, it depends also, like I was talking about, I think a week or two ago, we were talking about ad budgets and stuff. You're going to usually, on average, set aside at the bare minimum $10 to $20 a day. Usually I suggest in the pest control industry specifically, if you're working, say, Monday through Friday or even Monday through Saturday, I'm going to run the ad specifically Monday through Wednesday or Monday through Thursday. Again, depending on what the end of your week is. If the end of your week is Friday, I would go ahead and, just do Monday through Wednesday personally. If you are running like Monday through Saturday, like that's your work week, then I would go ahead and push that through Thursday essentially. And I still run mine through Thursday just because I don't necessarily work Saturdays, but if there's enough work to warrant it, then of course I'm going to get my ass up and go to work, because why wouldn't I, right? That's kind of just, the beauty of being the business owner, especially as a one-man show, is you can kind of just, until you get bigger, you can kind of just do it as you need to, essentially. So I run ours Monday through Thursday. We have ours at $50 a day now, but that's because, of course, one, my knowledge within Google Ads is, I'm not necessarily a quote-unquote, expert or anything like that, but I have enough knowledge. I've ran enough ads. I've done plenty of, 10, 20, 30, even at $1.75 a day ads. for our company to know kind of, one, how to speed up the process of Google learning my ad and me knowing what to input in there for Google to learn the ad to kind of speed that process up. But usually, if it's your first ad you've ever ran, it's probably going to take a bare minimum 2 weeks. One, for you with the learning curve and whatnot that's involved, and two, for Google to really know kind of who your target audience is and kind of help you out essentially with the algorithm and all that stuff. Your cost per click will probably start going up. Your cost per click is going to be very low early on, more than likely. You're probably going to pay somewhere around $2 to $8, maybe $10 per click early on, which is going to seem great and all, but most of those clicks are going to be shit clicks in all honesty. Usually the more that you're paying per click, within reason obviously, the better quality of the click is just kind of, pay to play essentially. The more you play, the more you pay, the better the leads are going to be essentially. Kind of answer my question as you go. Oh, awesome. Yeah. So we'll even kind of dive into this ad here, and this, for example, is like our quote unquote best performing ad. It just says, save $50 on pest control, the best pest control company, and then we can't see the rest there. Say goodbye to pests in your home or business. Get your instant quote now. Don't let pests take over. Choose I need to update that. It shouldn't say eco-friendly. That must be one of Google's bullshit headlines. Choose our eco-friendly pest control services today. So if we go in here and take a look, if it'll let me, let's see. Scroll down here. Guess we'll just go ahead and do it this way. And I see right now they're offering that 500, so that might be a good time to go ahead and hop on your Google Ads. Click means someone literally clicking on your ad. Yeah, so let's see, and got your business. Yeah, so what I mean by pay-per-click, so we do pay-per-click, it's PPC, pay-per-click ads only within Google search only. So when I go to create a campaign, you have, it asks you what goal, I can even pretend like I'm setting one up for you right now just to kind of walk you through a little bit. So you have all this. We do, not website traffic. We do create a campaign without guidance. We do search ad only. And then, of course, you set up your conversions. You would hit continue. And then from there, it'll ask you, how do you want to bid for, your ad? And we do, the pay-per-click, essentially. And what that means is when somebody searches on Google, if we go to Google here and we type in pest control near me, for example, of course, you see our ad. You see the ads up here. So say somebody clicked on this ad. This is how our ad would show up with a picture and everything. Say we clicked on that. That is what we would then pay for. So someone would click on this ad. Sorry, Terminex, but you have enough money to pay for the click anyways. Somebody would click on this ad, see the ad, and then from there, we've already paid the money. So whatever they do from here, it doesn't really matter. We've already paid for whatever they do on here. They could go to a different page. They could call us. They could, submit a form. They could totally, say, like we're going to do, we don't want this, we're going to exit out. Regardless, you're going to pay for it. So I know that sounds kind of bad, but these tend to be the most highest return on investment ads that I found. There's the option to attempt to get leads. Those clicks are usually astronomically high. Or those ads, I should say, are usually astronomically high and have little to maybe the same at best results in terms of conversion rate and click-through rate and all that stuff, and it just costs more. For example, our cost per click is around $26 right now, which oddly enough kind of dropped throughout the week. So you can see Google's kind of figuring out our ad still. You can see here where we intersect. What date was that? Sometime between Wednesday and Thursday. We're paying $26, per click. And out of every click, rule of thumb, I'm expecting about 1 in 4 to 1 in 10 clicks to lead in a quote unquote conversion which for me, my ultimate conversion is the customer pays for a whole year up front. That's my ultimate conversion, what I'm doing that number based off of the 1 in 10. The 1 in 4, that's somebody at least calling us, submitting a form. We're getting their information into our lead database to where, hey, say they'd never call us back, in terms of the quote. Say we got them on the phone and, we're going to think about it, blah, blah, blah. We have their information in there to where we can call them, hit them on email marketing, etc., until eventually either A, they block us altogether, or B, they end up signing up with our services. We stress that, we're the best, all that good stuff. We're not like overly, just bang you over top of the head with emails and calls and texts and all that. But, I usually hit up people about once a day, once every couple days, minimum twice a week, essentially. Either email, text, call, voicemail, whatever the case may be, until either A, they sign up, B, like I said, they end up blocking you from everything, which doesn't really happen too often. We tend to have more people just honestly just answer the phone and say, sorry, we found somebody cheaper, whatever the case may be, didn't expect it to be this much, to where we at least know, hey, that's no problem. Let's stop wasting both our time and their time. And, maybe we'll circle back a year from now and see if their finances are better or whatever the case may be. Essentially, we'll put a note in the account. Don't reach out until X date, essentially. That's more of like the 1 in 4, 1 in 4 to 1 in 6 range. The 1 in 10, those are customers that, they're not just signing up, signing up for our monthly plan where they're paying every month, like subscription style, but they're paying for a whole year up front. For example, I had somebody pay a whole year up front on Friday. It was $545 or something like that, $545, $555 plus tax. So that covered, our entire last 7 days of ads, plus we're in the profit, at least, from the advertising side of things. Obviously, we still have the cost of chemical, blah, blah, blah. But since it's just me right now, for a very short time, I'm about to hire somebody soon. But since it's just me right now, that puts us in the profit pretty solidly. And then, of course, if you saw my short from, I forget when, Friday, I believe, either Thursday or Friday this past week, I posted a YouTube short talking about the importance of follow-up, which is what I like about Google Ads the most is it gets you those contact leads, form submissions, and people calling you. And that allows you to follow up like we were just talking about. I followed up with 10 people Thursday or Friday afternoon. Actually, it was like evening. It was like 6 o'clock. Shouldn't even been working at that point, but I hadn't done any follow-ups that day, so I went ahead and followed up with 10 people. I got one person who is more than likely going with us, and then we got 2 other ones that sold. The one went Friday. We got another one going tomorrow on Monday. They're not paying for the year. However, that's a $129 initial. They're also wanting mosquito and tick service, which we're going to go ahead and start up this month. So that's going to be at least another $65 to $125 at the time of the initial. And then, of course, the month-to-month value as well, as long as they're a customer. So, and that's just from the Google Ads specifically. That doesn't include all of our other, SEO and all that type of stuff as well. So definitely the pay-per-click ads are the best in my opinion. Again, there's people that'll say that, doing the option, at the very beginning when they ask what your goal is, that you should pick, you want to get leads. I've been there, done that. It's more expensive and, gets you about the same results. So if you want to get the same results and pay more money, go ahead, I guess. But pay-per-click is definitely what tends to work best for at least our advertising strategy so far. So hopefully that helps answer that question. And then let's see, what else was I going to break down for you all? And hopefully the stream is doing all right in terms of health and whatnot. And if you're tuning in right now and you're getting some good information, definitely help me out and hit that thumbs up button. That helps the stream out, helps the channel out, all that good yada yada stuff. So if you're liking what you're getting from the stream so far, hit the thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate that. And if you're new to the channel, of course, Subscribe below, hit the bell icon. We've got all the social media in there that you can go follow as well. We have exclusive like TikTok content, stuff like that coming as well. And then, of course, we're going to be converting all of our stuff to podcast format here, probably starting this week is the plan. So be looking out for that as well. But with that, I wanted to also just give you all kind of like an overall, not just a 7-day look, but we'll probably go out like the last 14 days. So you can see here, like I said, cost per click is going up. We are paying roughly $26 per week over the last week, where we were only paying about $22, $23 per click. If you average it over the last 2 weeks, if we look at our cost per click early on, we were only paying $15. Now look at that CTR. CTR was only 1.93%. We were getting clicks, like we were talking about, we were getting some clicks still, but anytime that CTR tends to be below our click rate, it's usually not good. Essentially, they're not quality clicks. We're ending up paying more than if we were paying more for our clicks, like you see up here. Look at that. We had 3 clicks on Thursday, 8.82% CTR. Average cost per click was about $7 higher, but we had some good quality clicks last week again. You can see here we had a day where it was just below nothing. I mean, it's pretty much 1-to-1, 1.83. That's pretty much 2% to 2 clicks. $31, which I believe was, pretty much the highest we paid, was around $31 per click this past week. You can see there just above 1-to-1 on Wednesday. Wednesday, I believe we did have a couple calls, which is probably what those 2 clicks were from the ad specifically. 3.77, that's not great. But again, you're going to have some good days, almost 9% CTR. Then you're going to have some, days where it's not so good, like that 1.83%. And that's another thing too. What we're learning now, we're starting to focus more on the scheduling side of things. So we're trying to figure out when our ads, let's see, that's demographics. There we go. When our ads tend to be performing the best, because this stuff takes time. It usually takes a couple weeks depending on, 1, how often your ad is running, 1, what hours you have it running, 3, I think I said 1 twice, 1, 2, and now 3, your ad budget, of course. So it takes a couple weeks or longer depending on all those 3 things. We're starting to get to the point where we're seeing, okay, how much are we paying for our cost per click? When is it the most expensive? Monday, for some reason, right around lunch hour, tends to be the most expensive in terms of cost per click. CTR, best CTR, at the moment, after just 2 weeks, is around 43% between 5 to 6 p.m. on Wednesday, and isn't really too bad in the evening in general, as a matter of fact, when we're running the ads, Monday through Wednesday, Monday through Thursday. We're just waiting right now. We're waiting to see which ones tend to turn this solid blue color or, this slightly darker blue color. Anything above 10%, of course, we're going to start focusing most of our resources on those time frames. It is interesting to me that it seems to be once people are getting home from work is when our CTR tends to be the highest, where you would think when people are kind of getting up in the morning, taking a shower, making breakfast, yada, 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 getting ready for work, essentially, you would think that would be when our CTR is highest, especially on Mondays at the beginning of the week when people weren't calling over the weekend. But oddly enough, so far, it seems to be the evening time is what's working out best so far. So I'm going to track this again, see how it goes the next week or 2. And I'll let you guys know kind of the overall update. I'm trying to see. Okay, yeah, that's the last 14 days. And again, you can play with this. You can kind of see, okay, now what was the last 7 days? Again, looky here. It was afternoon. It was slightly earlier in the afternoon this past week, but afternoon, the ad was doing pretty good. There were a couple times in the morning hours earlier in the week it did pretty decent. But overall, it still seems to be at least afternoon is when the ad tends to be performing the best. So I want to track this another week or 2 And I'm going to keep it the same. Right now, I believe I have this running. Let's see. We'll look at the ad schedule once it loads here in a second. I believe we have it running 2 different time frames. Of course, it's going to show us all of them. So we have them running essentially 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. I thought we had them running separate times. Monday. Oh, that's a different ad. Okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And that's the other thing, too, is you can also look at, okay, you can actually look at on here, okay, which ad is performing the best, what's the interaction rate, what's the average cost, how much have we spent during that time frame, conversion rate, which again, our conversion rate isn't really showing nothing because we're having an issue with that. Should be fixed this week. But yeah, you can look at, okay, when were we getting our most clicks? So Monday seems to be when we're getting the most clicks, but the interaction rate is much lower, where our interaction rate is just, which the clicks are just below it on Wednesdays, but the interaction rate is almost triple. It's over double, but it's almost triple. So that's something that I'll probably keep an eye on. And then Tuesdays seem to be horrible. Average cost is damn near $10 higher. Interaction rate sucks. In all honesty, I might even go ahead and pull the trigger sometime this week and either A, just stop running it on Tuesday altogether, or B, dive into Tuesday, look at that map specifically on Tuesday and see what hours it's doing good versus what hours, it's just doing god awful, and just maybe tweak the hours for Tuesday specifically. Maybe only run it, 2 hours here, 2 hours there, 1 hour, whatever the case may be. We definitely need to make some adjustments because this thing is sucking on Tuesday between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. right now. So, and again, Monday, like we said, even though it's getting clicks, it's below 3%. I like that to be at least above 3, preferably above 4, but at least above 3%. So far, Wednesday is the best day of the week so far, which I can attest to that. The past 2 Wednesdays have been awesome for this ad. We've gotten some very quality calls, form submissions. Wednesdays the past 2 weeks have been great for this ad, and look at that cost, so low, so low. So yeah, no, this is definitely interesting to take a look at. And again, going back to what we were talking about earlier with Corey's question about how much money should you set aside, how long is it going to take, what to expect. This stuff, like I'm mentioning, this stuff takes time. Obviously, if you're running an ad, you got to think based off of work weeks, right? So you got to think it's going to take at least 2 weeks just to get some of this data. And then from there, you can really start keeping an eye on it, which is kind of where I'm at right now. We got our keywords pretty much dialed into where we want them. Now, still need to check them every few days, make sure there's no, loose ends kind of getting in there, anything like that. Add negative keywords as needed. But from the keyword side of things, we're pretty much right where we want to be. Now we just need to get the scheduling right, figure out, like we said, we can see here, this is an anomaly right here. We're paying way too much on Tuesdays. Or CTR, interaction rate is horrible. So, Tuesday I'm really going to focus on this week. And then from there, each week or two, you just kind of tweak it as you go, essentially. So, hopefully that helps, from the ad schedule standpoint. I want to go back here and take a look at the keywords section as well. You guys know we talked about keywords last week as well. We were diving into, the differences between exact match, phrase match, and broad match whenever you're typing in your keywords. Your exact match, you're going to be using these brackets. You can see where it says pest services, pest control, exterminator near me, all that stuff. Expect low CTR. That's funny because my CTR is not very low at all, Google. But you see where the brackets are at the ends. That means you're using the exact match. That means whenever someone searches something, it's going to be very, very, very close to that search specifically. So you can see here, The triggers were pest control, exterminator. It says 11 more too. We can take a look here at what this keyword trigger. So you can see pest control near me, pest control services, bug exterminator. This is all stuff that you would definitely want your ad to be showing up for. Let's try and see if it showed us CTR or anything. So interaction rate, so you can see average cost $28, as you would expect for a search term like pest control. That's not going to be a cheap term at all. Good thing is we're early in the spring, so it's relatively low in terms of cost. But yeah, I love using Exact Match because it kind of filters out all of the BS in terms of negative keywords, having to go in there every single day and put in negative keywords. So for example, we popped up under rodent control. I already went in there and added that as a negative keyword. I didn't know we had pest and rodent control on there as an exact match. That was my fault. So I had to go in there and edit that. We did have to pay for a click for that, but it is what it is. But look at these words that we've been showing up for and been getting clicks for. Pest control near me, Addison Pest Control, which is a town around here. All Pests, had to add that as a negative keyword because that's a company. But house pest control near me, locally owned pest control near me, pest control Richardson, Texas, Plano pest control service near me. Just mostly stuff that we want to show up for. We already added that as a negative keyword. Luckily, you'll know if you had to pay for a click because you see where it says sort by clicks. You can go through and do a drop down and all that stuff. See how these ones that have clicks, there's a broader border around the button there, that dark blue. And then down here, it's kind of a really faint light blue border. Those are the ones that don't have clicks on them, essentially. So you'll know, essentially, if you paid for a click for something based on that. That's obviously what's going to matter the most. What you want to make sure to add as a negative keyword right away if you pay for something like that. And then, all the other ones you just kind of address as you go. And luckily, I haven't had to touch this in a few days. Like I said, Google and this ad, I almost said that. So we don't want that. So we don't want to pop up anything with bed bugs at all. So we're going to put that as broad match. We'll go ahead and save that. But pretty much, this ad is starting to get pretty damn dialed in. So I'm very happy with how this ad is performing overall. Again, what we went over today was, just a second ago we were going over keywords, negative keywords, broad match versus exact match versus, all the other, what's the other one? Broad, oh my gosh, got me wondering now. Let's see here. So we have phrase match, that's right. So phrase match, broad match, exact match. We went over all those, and essentially, broad match is pretty much you're saying, I don't want to show up, or I do want to show up for anything that does with X. That means, it could be totally unrelated. As long as it has something to do with X, I'm going to show up for it. And then you have phrase match, which is saying, if it uses the term pest control or, something related to pest control, I want to show up for that, or I don't want to show up for that. And then exact match, like I said, you're going to be paying more for click. But of course, like we've talked about now, you're going to be showing up for much better quality searches, which is going to lead to better quality clicks, which leads to money better spent, which is what we're aiming for at the end of the day. We want to make sure we're getting what we're paying for. Like we were talking about whenever we were breaking down the cost of this ad, you could see that we were paying almost nothing, about $15 a click for ads. And then you could see once we made that change, because our cost per ad went up to about $30, $25 to $30, $32 per click. Ever since we got this ad dialed in, CTR, for the most part, has gone up with that, like we were seeing here. 1.93, boom, 9. 1.2, and again, this was only the second day. 5.88, 1.83, 3.7, 8.8. And then, of course, now we're waiting. We don't do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is why it's flat those 3 days. So, hopefully you guys did learn some information from this stream. Hopefully the stream has been doing all right in terms of, not glitching or anything like that with the internet. And hopefully you guys did learn some things. Like I said, if you enjoyed the video, if you did learn some things, definitely make sure to smash that like button. It helps the stream out and helps the channel out tremendously. And if you know anyone that would benefit from this type of content, about Google Ads, definitely, share it with them. Share it all over, social media and all that stuff. We don't charge for anything, of course, associated with the channel. So the only way we get the name out is by, sharing the content all over the web and whatnot. So if you know anybody that would benefit from this type of content, I appreciate it if you share it with them. Or like I said, if you just give a thumbs up, that helps too. And like I said, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon right beside it, and make sure that it's turned on to all notifications. That way you'll be notified every time we go live, upload another video, post a poll, anything like that for you guys. But until next time, guys, keep on going out there, making your money, hustling, investing your money, and giving your family the life that you and they deserve. And I'll see you guys in our Discord, Facebook group chat, TikTok, and in the next stream and video. Take it easy, guys.